Hello and welcome to the recap of the day one of the April monthly finals. We had six matches happen yesterday, two in the first round, then two in the second round, and then finally the two lower bracket elimination matches. The first match between VM Surgical and Synchronic was by far the most chaotic one in many ways. Isma opened the match with a Synchronic style Root Rider attack, and while the attack was not the most convincing, it got VM to an okay start. Then came Simon for Synchronic. He wanted to establish an early time lead, so he rushed in before his left flank fully developed, and he got into big trouble. It looked like it could even be a 1 star, but he showed great composure and got the town hall with some nice wall breaks and super barbs. So, now another Synchronic attack? According to reports, it was a mix up caused by the admins, so the match continued on without a penalty, and Einstein got a confident triple here. Then Sami with another bit shaky Root Rider attack for Surgical, but he clutched it and maintained the lead. Then, again due to that mix-up, a second Surgical attack in a row, and it was Kristoff with an E-Dragon Dragon Rider mix, but the blimp for the Town Hall got trapped by the tornado and the attack fizzled out, but it was still a percent lead for VM Surgical at that point. Gen X attacked one of VM's double invis ring bases. These bases were somewhat successful for VM Legacy in warm up, and since Surgical was now in the same org, they got some made for them as well. But Gen X broke it down beautifully with the log launcher to trigger invisibilities. So the time factor was now gone for a while in this match, and the players could do some slower, more controlled attacks. Ultra did a blimp lure into QC roots, but the charge didn't path well, and the roots got held up, and it was a second fail for VM Surgical. Now Philip showed another way to break double invis rings with destroying both sweepers and triggering both invises, and then, same as Gen X, destroyed the core with the new level Yetis. Simon was the last attacker for VM. He did a great double zap Lalo attack, but the match was out of their hands now because Mark just needed a triple, and he did get it by destroying another double ring in Visibase. So Synchronic won the match on the score, but then we learned that Gen X had his camera disconnect for 30 seconds, not during his attack, but during the match. So VM Surgical got the win, and Synchronic got sent to the lower bracket. Then we had free agents versus Vatang. Spray was hitting first for Vatang and he did his signature fast E-Drag attack. Pata went in with another E-Drag attack. He got great value with the giant arrow, but the rage towers in the core showed they can still wreck attacks if placed in good positions. Vatang had the lead now, and time was no longer a factor. Players could now focus on just getting the triples, and they did just that. With no more fails on either side, it ended 15 to 14 to Vatang, and FA were now in the lower bracket as well. In the first round 2 match, Navi was waiting for VM Surgical. With the way VM got there, and with Navi being Navi, most people expected this to be very one sided, but it wasn't really. After 4 attacks each, VM were still hanging in on time, but the 28-second deficit was enough for Ultra to take some extra risks, and this layout punished his lack of funneling very hard. Klaus casually finished the match for a Navi win and a place in the upper bracket final. Vatang and MMG already faced each other in stage 2 of this qualifier, and back then MMG won in a double perfect war. They all knew something similar could happen again, and this war had 9 very fast attacks and 1 slower attack. You may not think that the new Monolith level got enough of a damage boost, but it did absolute work on Kingsman's Root Riders here, and time was now on Vatang's side. Vatang had less than 1 day to prepare some bases, but they seemed to be like, alright, we don't have the best bases, but we can just perfect war faster than everybody else. In the end, not even the fastest attack of the day by Mammoth was enough to make up for the deficit, and it was a win for Vatang. They now join Navi in the upper bracket final, and we are now going into the lower bracket elimination matches. In the Free Agents vs VM Surgical match, after 1 very fast attack from each side, Sammy took a risk, and he did the Root Rider attack which was finishing on the Town Hall, but what ended up waiting for him in the end was a nasty raged area, and he 1-starred, giving FA a big lead. FA could now more slowly and methodically break down VM's double invisibility ring bases, and while both sides had another fail, it was an easy win for FA. In the end, we also needed to say goodbye to either Synchronic or MMG. Simon opened up well for Synchronic by getting a 75-second triple. Tryhard thought he needed a very fast triple himself, and he tried to do an attack surrounding the base from many sides, with King from 430, Queen at 3, Root Riders from 6, and Siege Barrack at 8. But the King and the Queen did much less than expected. The Roots did not go to the Town Hall, and it was a 1 star. Neither side would fail again, and Synchronic lived to fight on day 2. So this is where we stand going into day 2. I predicted Surgical and Vetang would go out on day 1, but Vetang really surprised me. Let me try to get the day 2 predictions right at least. Both Synchronic and FA showed they have a mistake in them, but Synchronic less so. I think Vetang won't have enough for Navi, but I'm now enough of a Vetang believer that I think they will beat Synchronic and get a silver ticket, with Navi getting the first golden ticket of the year. But who knows what actually happens. Until the next recap, see you, Chiefs.